name is Carrie Marsh. All right, we'll start with introductions. My name is Carrie Marsh Dixon. I'm the Executive Secretary of the Parks Commission. Max?
Max Ford Diamond. I'm the tree warden, city arborist for the city of Boston.
Todd?
I'm Todd Meester. I'm the Director of Urban Forestry for the City of Boston.
Jill?
Jill Zick. I'm the Interim Chief Landscape Architect for the Parks Department.
Calliope?
I'm Calliope Marsky. I'm the Executive Assistant at Urban Forestry.
All right, if you'd like to start your presentation, introduce yourself for the record, please. I apologize, let me read the hearing. This is a request to remove one Honeylocust tree measuring 22 inches in diameter at 195 Chestnut Avenue in Jamaica Plain. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dolores Carbona, and I am the Senior ADA Manager for the Streets Cabinet. I am accompanied by Martha Tierney, our Special Projects Director, and we are here to discuss the petition to remove the Honeylocust tree. And if you can bear with me for one moment, I'm just going to pull up a street view, and then I will get into the presentation. And we have our senior engineer, Michael Summers, on the call with us as well. So I may tag into any of these people. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Are you able to see this, the street view of the tree? Is that what is being viewed?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So the streets cabinet evaluated this pathway for accessibility. We received 311 complaints regarding the narrow path of travel and the uneven ground, the level, the vertical transition. And we explored a bump out on this road that presented engineering challenges that would impact the driveway as well as the roadway. So we don't have a path of travel here. I don't have the number with me. I think it was around 20 inches. but I need to verify that. And here we have a wrought iron fence. One possible solution here to keeping the tree would be if we were to interact with this property owner to remove the fence and re-pour this sidewalk panel to something like permeable pavement and capture a portion of the front yard to have the path of travel. That would solve the issue and be able to coordinate construction to have a smooth walking surface. So I will pause there and see if anyone else on my team wants to add anything before we end our presentation. Martha or Mike?
Good morning. How are you? This is Mike Summers with the City of Boston Public Works Department. I agree with everything Dolores is saying regarding this tree. I have pictures of my own on this. There is no path to travel behind the tree. You cannot put a bump out so close to a driveway. Across the street, the whole sidewalk is inaccessible due to utility poles and trees that are across the street to that, trees that are buckling the sidewalk. Also, I do have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 CRMs, 5 constituent requests to repair the sidewalk at this location, stating that it's in violations of the American with Disability Act. You know, it's also a danger for anyone using it. And this person has requested that the tree be removed as soon as possible. I can share pictures if you'd like to share them. I can share another picture of that tree as well. The city needs to make the sidewalk accessible to a non-able-bodied person. The only way to do that would be to take the tree down.
Any other comments from your team?
No, we are all set and can pass it off.
Okay, thank you. Max?
Yeah, so I inspected the tree last month. The tree in question is a 22-inch DBH Honeylocust tree. It was alive and healthy at the time of inspection, which is why we are required to have this hearing. Clive, could you please remind me how many letters of opposition we received?
39, I believe, before the hearings. No, it's up to 40.
So we received 40 letters of opposition prior to the start of this hearing, all in writing that I can share with you. We consolidated them all into one document. We can share them with the proponent at the end of the hearing. I have no further comments or questions.
Okay, and the letters of opposition mean what by state law?
They're requesting that we do not remove the tree and that we deny the removal of the tree as proposed.
Todd?
I guess I just want to ask about the alternatives that were considered. A lot of the letters of opposition that we received had suggested, like, if it were a one-way street, there would be more, you could take more area for the sidewalk and things like that. I guess I'm not completely, or I don't completely understand how a bump out near a driveway just is not possible. Could you give a little more explanation about why that's not possible?
The geometry on a bump out and then the cut into the driveway isn't feasible. Can't put a bump out and then an immediate swing into a driveway if you're coming down the street. I'm assuming that's in the south direction. You can't do that. Okay, the person that was person that had to navigate the bump out would be driving over the corner, would be driving over the bump out to enter into the driveway.
That's the only question that I have. Thank you.
Okay, Jill?
Was there any discussion with the abutting neighbor about potentially being able to expand the sidewalk? Understanding that the city's priority is to try to accommodate pedestrian travel within the right of way, but was there any discussion with the abutting neighbor about expanding the sidewalk onto private land through perhaps a public easement to accommodate a wider path of travel in its existing location?
That is a conversation that we would like to entertain with the owner. That was not made, that conversation was not in advance of this decision, but it's my understanding that they have filed a letter in support of maintaining the trees. So if we could remove this fence or a portion of this fence and re-pour the sidewalk panels with a permeable pavement panel and extend slightly into the front lawn for this portion that is passing by the tree, then we would be able to satisfy the ADA and maintain this tree. Our concern is just in satisfying the ADA, capturing the width so that folks in wheelchairs and walkers and baby carriages can get through. So if we can have that conversation with the owner, we would love to pursue an easement for the city to widen the sidewalk onto their property.
What about the tree across the street? Does that have the clearance that's required?
I'm not sure.
I don't believe that it does.
The other question I had was, I know that there are some utility poles and streetlights on this side of the street as well. Do we have the clearance that we need behind those street furnishings as well?
The
Do we
city
know
does
how
not
wide
have,
this sidewalk is?
the city does not have the clearance behind the utility poles on the opposite side of the street.
Okay. So the utility poles exist on the opposite side of the street, but are there any, I thought I saw some poles, maybe some light poles in Google Street View near this tree, kind of
Right
before
there.
it and after it. Do we have the clearance around those poles as well that we need to meet the minimum dimension?
Probably close to 36 inches, if not 36, but we would need code enforcement to come out, like these hedges are impeding on the path of travel. And
I
this
was just more
sidewalk
out of
looks very
curiosity.
narrow too, so depending on the width of the sidewalk, there may not be any truly accessible pathway.
So just to clarify, so the entire street, on the entire street between the trees owned by the city and the utility poles owned by the city, there is no clear ADA accessible pathway along either sidewalk on either side of the street currently.
I would need the measurements. But right now the legal minimum is 36 inches. And I think we may be close with these utility that are
On the
narrow.
opposite side of the streets, the utility poles are not owned by the city. They're owned by the utility companies. And no, we do not have 36 inches of clearance between the utility poles and a backline area.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your presentation?
The city of Boston recently just installed new pedestrian ramps down at the corner of Spring Park, which is the closest intersection. And if this tree was removed, you would definitely have a clear path of travel. This light pole, you do have 36 inches behind that light pole. right down to the brand new pedestrian ramps we just installed at the intersection of Chestnut and Spring Park. May I ask a question? Does anyone in those 40 letters that you received, does anyone quote anything about the American Disability Act in that?
All right, sir, we'll get to that in a moment, please. So Max, Todd, Jill, do you have any further comments?
No, I do not.
Okay, Calliope, can we open it up to public comment, please?
Yes, and given the, I'm just gonna limit everybody to 2 minutes in their comments. So I'm gonna open up to Elaine Riley first. Elaine, we cannot hear you.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I'm the former owner of this house. I lived in that house from 1988 until this past August, and so I've done a lot of work on all of the fixtures. Not the fixtures, all of the landscaping you're talking about, and the tree. And in terms of a sidewalk bump out, I would like you all to really rethink the feasibility of that, because there's always a car parked directly there. So regularly, when I used to come in and turn into my own driveway, I had to take, and going southbound, I had to navigate a car being parked directly in front of the car, in front of the tree, often with the front of the car way too close to the driveway to have to get into the driveway. So it is doable to have a bump out. I'd be really like to encourage you all to explore that further, the feasibility of that. And they're just privet hedges there, which are easily cut back and will either regrow or not, in terms of to getting the width of the hedges that you've been discussing, overgrowing the sidewalk. They're easily prunable. That's not a big problem. But would like you all to work on saving this tree. It's beautiful. It's what we need in the city. We need the air. We need the cleaning the air. We need the shade. There's very few street trees on Chestnut and Spring Parks. So you can see that this is one of the few, the image you're seeing right here shows exactly why this is a little magic spot, because everywhere else it's much more concrete and unshaded. That's it. Thank you.
thank you. Christopher Capozola, can you state your name and give your comment?
Sure. My name is Chris Capozola. I am a resident for about 3.5 years in this area, and request that you do not remove the tree and deny the request. The root structure presents mobility challenges, but removing the tree would make insufficient difference to make the street sufficiently accessible due to the narrowness of the sidewalk on that side of the street, the placement of the street lamps, including the one just discussed, the fullness of the bushes, and the steepness of the nearby hill. Present multiple challenges that would not, would mitigate but not fully address the accessibility issues at stake. In addition, I would request, if the tree is removed, that it be replaced on this street. And there was a substantial loss of tree cover in June 2024 following a transformer explosion nearby that led National Grid to remove 2 mature trees, branches on other trees, and several bushes without replacing any of them. So this area has gotten substantially less green in the last couple of years. Flattening the sidewalk, trimming the bushes of the adjoining property could improve walking for many pedestrians, even if it may not reach the full 36 inches. And the recent discussion about an easement offers another opportunity, and I urge further consideration before removing the tree. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has their hand raised?
There you go. As Chris Ball, you were able to talk.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Chris Ball. I'm the current owner of 195 Chestnut Avenue. Would just like to echo all of the other public comments about the importance of this tree for both shade and just the overall character of the neighborhood. Would like to echo Elaine's comments about working with us to have a bump out for the sidewalk. 100% right. We have to back into the driveway anyways, because there's always a car parked there. It's not possible to just turn into the driveway. So that the bump out should not be an issue. And worst case scenario, also happy to discuss granting an easement to the city to widen the sidewalk into the hedges. Whatever we can do to save the tree, please don't cut the tree down.
Thank you. Are there any other comments that public comments?
Please raise your hand if you have a comment.
Okay, in the meantime, we did receive a comment in the Q&A from Miranda Dotson. I can read it for the record if she's not here to comment herself. Let me just make sure she's still on the call. Ms. Dotson, would you like to read your own, or state your own comment? Okay, she's not raising her hand.
Oh, actually, she just did.
Okay, great.
Mute. Yes, I have a couple comments. The first one I can read out is, I'm curious about why the city is pursuing this tree removal and sidewalk work now, and if it's part of a broader effort to increase or enhance the accessibility of the sidewalks in the area. As we already saw from this presentation, sidewalks on both sides of this street and many streets in Jamaica Plain are not meeting ADA standards. And so I'm curious about what the city's broader plan is to meet the standards while protecting tree canopy and also using it as an opportunity to design calmer streets. One thing that I really want to highlight is that Chestnut Avenue is a dangerous two-way street. It's a hill, and cars come up both sides of the hill and really have to kind of race up and don't see other cars. And so every time I'm walking down that street, I live on Chestnut, I'm by Paul Gore and Chestnut, and I often see near collisions on many times that I walk. And so fortunately, there hasn't been, to my knowledge, a serious actual collision, but the amount of times that I see collisions where cars have to literally pull onto the sidewalk, which is not the street, is every day to let another car through. So I would want to know, I would suggest that the city makes the street a one-way and uses that extra available space to create the bump out, but also ensure that the sidewalks on both sides of the street are meeting the ADA requirements of at least 36 inches. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also see a hand by Marilyn Stern. I'm gonna allow them to talk real.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Oh, yes, you can? Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So honestly, I would just like to support all of the statements that have been made. I was a resident, the other resident at 195 for 37 years. And it's hard to tell from the picture, I mean, unless you look at the shade on the street, but in terms of the context of that part of Chestnut Ave, just how blazingly bright and hot that part of Chestnut can be. And it is an aspect of comfortable walking to have shade. So there's that, and I just want to express some gratitude to the current owners for considering all the different options to save the tree. And to mention that the fence in and of itself is not historic, even though that house is. So changes there would not greatly alter the character of the house. Yeah, and I think it's the last thing is that usually what is parked up to the very edge of the driveway is not a car, but usually a large truck. So we're very accustomed to having to make a very wide turn to enter that driveway or to exit that driveway. Thanks.
Thank you. I see a KO. I'm going to allow you to talk and please state your full name.
This is Keith O'Brien. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yep, you're good.
Very good. Thank you. I just want to kind of second, third, fourth, and fifth, all the comments said here today, especially I live on Chestnut Avenue right near this. The comments made by the former owner, Marilyn, I think really resonate with me, and I'm assuming many of our neighbors here. The shade provided by that beautiful tree is kind of essential, and I think it is part of the charm of this particular neighborhood. And it was part of the draw that my partner and I had in moving to this specific area, the tree coverage, and not all areas around the city, and even around Jamaica Plain, have this. So anything we could do to save that tree and kind of look at other means here to address any sort of like accessibility issues would be great. And I would also, I think, underscore a couple of comments made by others here. That is a pretty steep slope on that road to also be considered here as we're looking at other options that in terms of navigating that with carriages and wheelchairs is a challenge in general. So anything we could do to kind of preserve the character here would be wonderful. And thank you for considering this.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please raise your hand now or we'll close the comments. Okay. All of the comments that were received, if they have not yet been provided to the proponent, will be provided to the proponent. And you can read through the content of them. And as far as the public comment, if you'd like a recording, you can receive a recording as well. At this time, in the interest of the hearing, the time, Max, could you please talk about the next steps?
Yep. Thank you, Carrie. So from today, we have 2 weeks from to make a decision and offer a letter of determination to the proponent. If the removal of the tree is approved after the hearing, the proponent would need to send a check for the value of the BPRD. If the removal is denied, the tree will need to be protected during any future construction. Given the letters of opposition, the request for removal will be denied, and a request will need to be made to overrule that decision by the mayor or the mayor's appointee.
Great, thank you. And if there's nothing further from this Parks Department, then we will be ending the hearing now. Anything else?
I just wanted to note quickly in the Q&A, there's a message from Chris Ball, who's the owner of 195 Chestnut, and they're
Right.
yeah,
right. And then he spoke afterwards, so it's basically referencing, repeating what he had said. It's the same with Miranda Dotson, who had also left a comment in the chat. Thank you, Jill, for pointing that out. All right, so at this time we can end the hearing. Do you have any further comments, Dolores? Any questions?
No, everyone's testimony is going to be taken into account with the streets cabinet. So thank you for letting us know about the street and how dangerous it is. I will pass that off to our traffic engineers so that appropriate action can be taken, and I will be in touch with the owner. Thank you for coming to this meeting, and we would love to see the tree stay as well if we can capture that accessible path of travel. So I appreciate everyone coming out and sharing your thoughts on the tree and the shade that it provides.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, everyone.